I'm Gabriel Morency for Sports Interaction. We've had a lot of busy weekends to break down in the past, but none busier than the first weekend of May. We throw in the Run for the Roses as the Kentucky Derby goes down at Churchill Downs, and we add in a pretty boy Floyd Mayweather and Shane Mosley championship tilt. Oh, no, that's right. It's not a championship tilt, but we'll get to that in a couple of moments' time. Great weekend of sporting action. Let's start in the National Hockey League. Yaroslav Halak has people thinking of Patrick Waugh. An epic performance. Montreal Canadiens upset the Washington Capitals. Up next, Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins, the defending Stanley Cup champion. Pittsburgh Penguins, I might add. And no, Pittsburgh wasn't as lethal as the Washington Capitals in the regular season, but unlike the Capitals, the Pittsburgh Penguins know what it takes to win in the postseason. I still think that Montreal Canadian fans will get an opportunity to honk their horns and wave their flags another 3 times. I think there's some value with a Game 7 Pittsburgh Penguin victory in the plus 350 range. Now, it's a great story. Sidney Crosby is a huge Montreal Canadiens fan, and in fact, many people know his father was drafted by the Canadiens in 1984, which I believe, if memory serves me correctly, is the same year that Steve Penny did his thing. And, where's Steve Penny now? Exactly. Great performance by Halak, but can he do it again in a second round? Now, I know that I'm going to be paying attention to the Philadelphia Flyers and the Boston Bruins. There's going to be more hits in this series than there is in the Mayweather-Mosley fight. This is going to be great stuff, and it's hard to believe that either Philadelphia or Boston are actually going to be 4 wins away from a Stanley Cup appearance. Now, Boston are favored in this series, and they bullied and they beat down the Buffalo Sabres. Take a look at Gerby. The guy's about 4 feet 2 tall. I think Ivo Longoria is taller than Gerby. And yeah, I know they've got Myers and they got the big kid. But the bottom line is Philadelphia is not Buffalo. Philadelphia is an extremely physical hockey team, and I expect Philadelphia to manhandle the Boston Bruins the way Boston manhandled Buffalo, at least physically in the corners in front of the net. When it's all said and done, I like the Philadelphia Flyers in an upset, not in 6, but in 7 games. Now, Chicago, Vancouver, I don't know. Who knows? Last year, I was actually 15-1 with my Stanley Cup playoff predictions. The only series I got wrong was Chicago and Vancouver. I'm scared of it. I do believe that this is a 7-game set, and you don't have to pick a winner. Great props with Sports Interaction. We can just take a Game 7 series at plus 175. I think that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'm also going to be riding the San Jose Sharks. I think this is it, people. I think this is the Sharks' time. I think Nabokov is better than people give him credit for. I think the pressure's off, and I like the San Jose Sharks. I also love the Milwaukee Bucks and what they're doing. Scott Brooks gets Coach of the Year. Yeah, whatever. Don't tell me that Scott Skiles hasn't done a better job than anybody in the association. Jennings is a monster. Selmans is stepping up in it. I like the Milwaukee Bucks to close out the Atlanta Hawks. Now, the intensity factor, nowhere near as close in the NBA as it is in the NHL. Yet, nevertheless, Boston, they just have that way of getting under their opposition's skin. Just ask the Miami Heat and Quentin Richardson. This is going to be an interesting series between the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't like what I've seen from Cleveland so far, and I'm not a LeBron James fan. I think that Cleveland is a good basketball team, but I'm really liking what I see from the Orlando Magic in the NBA playoffs. They've got like the most motley crew of any bunch in the association. Now, it's a busy weekend. Now, last weekend we had the WEC and we had the fight of the year. Maybe, the fight of the last 5 years with Garcia and Jung. It was great stuff. Now we step from outside the cage into the squared circle, the sweet science. Now it's Mosley, it's Mayweather, and there's not even a belt on the line. If Mosley wins, he keeps his belt. If he loses, he vacates it. If Mayweather wins, which I believe that he will, by decision at minus 189, I might add right now, if he does win, he doesn't get the belt. It's just ridiculous. If Mayweather doesn't care enough to pay the sanctioning fees for a championship fight, why should I care enough to pay $60 on pay-per-view? Doesn't mean that I won't bet it, and hell, who am I kidding? I'm going to end up watching it. And speaking of MMA, now I'm not Matlock, and hey, I'm not even Lionel Hutz, but I've watched Matlock in bars before. The sound was down, but I got the gist of it. Memo to Tito Ortiz: when you show up for your court appearance, make sure you leave the team punishment gear at home. Now, I mentioned the Run for the Roses. It's the 136th Run for the Roses. Now, I'm not Billy Shoemaker or anything like that, but I'll take a shot, and I have won a Kentucky Derby or two in the past, albeit I think it was in like the mid-'90s. Now, the movie The Box with Cameron Diaz. I don't know how many of you people have seen it out there. God-awful movie. The movie The Box should be like trapped under ice for eternity. But you know what? I'm going to be riding Icebox. Give me Nick Zito's Icebox in the 10-1 range to win the Kentucky Derby. I should let you know that I always take the winner of the Florida Derby. Icebox won the Florida Derby. It worked for me in like 1995 with Thunder Gulch. And seriously, in a 20-plus horse race, who knows who's going to win? Give me a 9-10-1 shot with Icebox. Other than that, you're on your own. May the winners be yours. I'm Gabriel Morency for Sports Interaction.